All right, you guys
Is
ready?
it just, it's Scott Stutter? Sutter.
Stutter.
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 I'm
I would call
gonna
that
stutter.
Scott Stutter.
She can't take much more, Captain. You ready?
I'm ready.
Welcome to Bay Floor Discussions. Episode number 16?
18.
18. Holy smokes. We got Ed, we got John, we got Brian, we got Eric, and we got a special guest, Chief Scott, not Stutter, Sutter.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us.
It's an interesting ride up here.
I'm sure it was. It was an interesting ride from the house, yeah.
So typically we have everyone introduce themselves and give us just a quick rundown of who you are, where you're from,
What's your deal?
why are you here?
What do you want from us?
Scott Sauer from Bristol. I've been chief there since May of last year. I've been doing firefighting for 25 years overall.
Older than you, Ed.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know John and Cartman here from the fair
Sorry.
quite a while, so. And one of the 34 viewers usually of this,
Right.
listeners.
That's perfect.
That's roughly 33 more people than we thought would ever listen to us.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
appreciate it.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Cool.
So what have we got new? Anything happened recently other than our snowstorms?
Well, yeah, snowstorms,
Yeah, snow, ice.
all the
Typical
fun,
stuff this
happy
time of
stuff.
year.
Yep. Yep.
Anything new for trainings? Anything like that?
Right now, we're trying to get through the main EMS protocol updates for all of you EMTs.
Yes.
Exciting new stuff.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
It's good.
exciting for you.
Yeah,
It's good.
It's big for us.
Yep.
I mean, honestly, it's a bunch of. Well, albuterol should have been something that we've done for a
Duoneb.
while.
You don't give albuterol.
Sorry. Yeah.
Duoneb.
Duoneb.
And we just did the update, the practical part of it, and biggest complaint we had over the whole thing is we're a basic licensed service and we don't transport.
Yeah.
And no, I was an advanced EMT for a while. I dropped back down to basics. I didn't do enough calls and to keep my skills up and stuff. So I found that the whole protocol thing was a huge waste of time for a lot of us, sitting there for 4.5 hours watching this. And only like 20% of it pertains to us. The rest of it's
Yeah.
nothing. The guy that did the practical part of it was really good. That was only pertained to what we had to do, and that was it.
Yeah.
That was good. But
Yep.
I've complained that the little comment section end of it. I read the past couple of updates I've written. You need to do a basic part of it, and then you need to do the advanced part of it separately.
Yeah.
It'd be better for everyone.
Yeah. I think they'll probably get a lot of comments about this last protocol rollout.
My biggest complaint was that it was a lot in a short period of time. I mean, not only are we dealing with a pandemic, staffing shortage due to mandates, whether it's right or not wrong, then they throw on this, oh yeah, you have a month to get this out. They should have rolled it out, in my opinion, in July and gave us 6 months
Well,
to
that's-
properly
I
educate
feel like they
everyone.
kind of did it backwards. I think they should have approved the trainings before they changed the protocol.
Right.
I mean, that seems kind of silly to me. We've been.
I mean,
we've
there
been
were
approved to
even
do these
delays in
things.
getting approved for the course.
Right.
So, interesting. How many people do you? How many people run EMS in Bristol?
I have 14 licensed people.
Really? That's awesome.
Of that, I'd probably say about half are steady
Yep.
stuff. So
Cool.
depends on the day, like everyone else. I mean, there's
Yeah.
been calls where it's been I've gone up by myself.
Yeah.
And there's me and another lady. She's, God bless her, she's pushing. She's up there.
Yeah.
She shows at 9% of the calls though.
That's awesome.
So
Awesome. Who does your transports?
we have there's a CLC ambulance does it, Central Lincoln County Ambulance in
Okay.
Damascata.
Yep.
And they have 6 towns that signed on years ago to this contract thing, and they transport for us.
Nice.
And they're really good, and usually their longest getting to us by 10 to 15 minutes. So it's not too bad.
No, it's not
Depends on-
terrible.
We're down to we have a lighthouse, Pelican Point Lighthouse.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're down there, up the other side, or so So this
Nice.
works
Do
out
you
really
have
well.
an ambulance?
We have a rescue. It's actually
Oh boy. Shit.
no, we have a it's actually quite large ambulance. It's a international chassis with a PL box on it.
So it runs.
We could transport if we had to. It has a cot in it.
Yeah.
What we do is we show up on scene, first responders. We do a thing. We usually before the pandemic, we used to have them all loaded up, push them in the back of their truck, switch cots, say, "Here you go. Here's the paperwork. See you later."
Nice.
So
Yeah.
we're like I think the only first responder in Lincoln County that has a cot. We switch out with them.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
How many total people on your department then?
30 right now.
Yeah.
I'd say. Of that,
And about half of that?
Yep.
Yeah.
If we're lucky. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are still good numbers.
Yeah, I'd say
You know.
depends on a day, depends
Yeah.
on everything. So you never know.
Yeah.
There's a core, but I'd say some people that are very, very active, they're getting burnt out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But-
6 of the 8 plow snow, so hopefully nothing happens during a snowstorm,
Yeah.
right?
Are you
Yeah.
volunteer, combination, what?
I'm the only full-time
Okay.
person on it, and everyone else is volunteer paid on call
Yep. How long have you been full time there?
since May last year.
Yeah. Nice.
And the position's only been there for three years.
Yeah.
So before that was paid as you need to, chief.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
as everyone knows, the paperwork, I don't know how anyone does it without having a full-time chief right now. It is
that was my
horrible.
biggest. That
Yep.
was my biggest thing.
Yep.
Like it's not. Like I told them, I go. It doesn't matter if it says Boston on the side of the truck or if it says Boothbay or any other town. We all have the same requirements and the same standards to meet. So it's bonkers how,
Then
how much
all
work
town
there
stuff,
is.
and then
Yeah.
if you do the calls on top of that, it throws everything else off, getting delayed, and so you're
Yeah.
rushing around trying to get stuff done. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing. I knew there's a lot, but not as much.
Yeah.
I should say.
Yeah.
And then
Right.
people call in, well, I need this and this, and that takes an hour of your day to look up this little thing they need.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good.
That's what it
Good
is.
deal.
So,
Yeah, there's still a lot of these smaller towns that are trying to make that. I don't want to say like sales pitch, but you need
It's a
to
jump.
get the town to understand how much work is really involved, because they'll even complain. Look at how many hours they've got written down. If you actually did the numbers, it'd be cheaper to have them, quote unquote, full time or salary or whatever.
Yeah,
Just,
salary works out great for the
town.
municipalities.
yeah, they make it wonderful.
Yeah, they do.
So I started out at base pay, and we went back and forth on pay rate and everything, and I ended up from May till like 6 month period, my 6 month review, I did 1,450 hours in that 6 month period,
Yeah.
including calls, after hour calls.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't keep this up. I was like, I'm not getting paid enough for it, and so it worked out that I can get paid for the after hour calls, and I've evened out some of the workload now. So
Yeah.
the first 6 months is always going to be busy. You're always trying to do more and everything. So
Yeah.
it's finally evening out a little bit, and had a busy summer too, so that
Right.
adds a lot.
Yep. No, they make out good. I mean, a full-time job is 2,040 hours a year.
Yeah,
Hey, you're doing 1,500 in 6 months.
Yeah.
You don't have to be real good at math to figure that one out. So,
yeah, and like this past weekend, the big storm we had, when I came on about 8 years ago, I joined Bristol. I came from Boothbay. I was assistant chief in Boothbay Harbor before that for a
Yeah.
while. And I was like, I talk about trucks, and we have more and more equipment nowadays. And like, you guys need a pickup truck, put stuff in the back, and you can just manpower to mutual aid call, take that. So we bought a 1 ton Dodge,
yeah.
and we put a foiler on it, a couple floating pump, a regular pump, some forestry stuff, and we use that a lot. Put a 9.5 foot V plow on it
Nice.
for sometimes roads aren't plowed,
Mhm.
driveways aren't plowed to get into, and my guys were using the personal truck, staving them up. I'm like, we shouldn't
Yeah.
be doing this.
Yep.
So then we got the full-time chief's position. The guy before me was using his personal truck and doing mileage. I'm like, well, that's not really right, and this liability and insurance and stuff. So we bought a 3/4 ton Dodge 4-door short bed.
Yep.
Has a rain box beside me. I put plow on that, and last week I spent like 16 hours just plowing my 3 stations.
Yeah.
That's all I did. Helped the
Yep.
public works guy because he had plenty of other stuff to do. So
Yeah.
now I can take those days off some other time.
Right.
Well, Monday I took it off because I had the kid home. The daycare was shut down, of course.
Yeah.
That's the worst part.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works out good though. I mean, it's evening out.
Yeah.
Do a lot.
Good. Awesome.
So one of the topics we had thrown out there was communications. What do you have? What's your setup in your region over in
We
Bristol?
have Central Communications and Lincoln County Communications in Wiscasset. They page everybody in the county, police, fire, and EMS. We have 4 transporting services for ambulance. There's 19 fire departments, and God, there's 5 police departments, including the sheriffs. So
Wow.
they do all that with usually 2 people on at a time.
Yeah.
Sometimes more, and supervisor or whatever. But they do very well. They're, I think, a guinea pig for a lot of new programs. They have been in recent years. We use arm responding, of course, and they just got the sheriff's department on some sort of different reporting thing. They're just trying out.
Yeah.
At first one state, I guess. They want to push it to the fire department, but we don't want it. But I mean, there's
Fear change.
and they do great. They have their issues like everyone does. There's a
Yeah.
bad call, something's messed up, but I think our biggest thing is trying to get them to be consistent on all their calls, and I think the technology and the equipment needs upgraded.
Yeah.
They're coming down to my station, hopefully in a couple weeks. RCM is to, we have the radio systems on the floor and have all these wires going up. It says, well, if you eliminate those wires, you'll gain like 10 or 15 watts.
Wow.
Just by eliminating wires, like,
Yeah.
go for it, put it up here.
Right.
So unless, of course, that's like a price, I don't know, $60,000 thing to do, so they have to approve it, and it takes months to do. And
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but right now, they have to do it because our radio's not working right. We're not getting the pages, so
Yeah.
something went wrong.
Does every department have their own repeater, their own channel, or?
Yep, they all have our own working channel. It's all, well.
Is it like a primary dispatch channel?
There's
for
a
all of
primary
them?
fire channel, Lincoln County Fire pages, all departments get paged out on it. There's I think 2 of them, once they get paged out on it, they go to their own channel immediately.
Yeah.
And they work on that. The rest of them stay on that until they get set up on scene. They go to their own fire ground or their own town channel they have.
Yeah.
Depends on what's going on and everything.
Sounds kind of like Oxford County setup.
Yeah, so that's what I was just thinking. Like I didn't realize how spoiled I was starting out in Casco and in Cumberland County, where your town channel is your town channel. That's what you get dispatched on. That's what you communicate on. The only time you change channels is if you've got multiple departments.
Wow.
You know, you can go to state fire or whatever. So when I went up to Oxford County, moved to Oxford County, and now all of a sudden I'm hearing other towns go off. My first couple of weeks, I was like, how do I know when I leave? And he's
My,
like,
my, my pager's broken because this thing keeps going
no,
off.
I
This is
said
bullshit.
that at one point. I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm getting woken up all the time. He's like, well, shut it off. You know, like, it will vibrate when our town gets called, but other than that, you're going to hear every other call.
Yeah.
Like,
Some people hear someone hear tone goes off, like, oh, that's this town. How do you know that? It's like, I'm listening to it for 25 years. And
Yeah.
I pretty much know all of them.
Yeah.
yeah. I didn't even know that was a thing
Yep.
until I
Oh,
left
no.
this town.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Well, then the problem that we have, though, is like the other night, Waldoboro's call. They called a couple towns away, sent a tanker over. Well, they didn't have their town channel, Waldoboro's
Yeah.
town channel, so they had to switch a water shuttle or something to a different channel because they didn't have it.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest problem we have now is trying to get everything in the county all exactly the same.
Yeah.
So,
We've done
We
that
ran into
here.
that with water rescues.
Yep.
We had a big problem with it.
Yeah, big problem. So we've done a couple things. From Cumberland County, they gave everybody in all the agencies in the county 2 banks or 2 zones of radio frequencies that are standard. So every agency, we'll say for Casco, Zone A is our local stuff. Zone B is the County Bank 1, and Zone C is County Bank 3. So both of those zones, doesn't matter where we go, if we go to one of those county zones, we'll all have that same channel and we can operate off that. So, yeah, it works pretty good.
Yeah. That was a big step. That was, what, 2 years ago?
Oh,
A
that
year
was
ago?
quite a few years ago, actually.
Because before that,
Probably-
the problem we were running into is anytime there was an incident on Sebago's huge.
yeah.
So you ended up calling, what did we figure out one time, like eight?
Yeah, there's 7
towns?
agencies. Yeah.
So, because 90% of the time something happens on Sebago, nobody knows exactly where they are.
Oh, yeah.
So they're calling every town that touches the lake, plus wardens and all this other stuff. And that's what we were figuring out is why would we have the same channels that Standish has? So now, Standish is operating off of one channel and we're operating off of one channel, and they said, everybody go to this channel. Well, we don't have that channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that was, at least
So we have,
from my underling point of view, that was the worst time. Whenever we got a call for a water rescue, it was like, well, let the show begin,
Yeah.
because we're going to start calling around. and
Right.
Hopefully somebody's got somebody's cell phone number, because we're not going to be able to reach them on the radio.
so basically what we ended up doing was developing a response plan for Sebago Lake. So all the communities that are on Sebago Lake at one point or another will get activated if there's a boat accident or water
Something,
rescue
yeah.
out there. And then we all go to one of the county channels, and that's how we operate it.
Makes sense. Yeah.
That way, everybody gets sent and notified at the same time, and it just, because the people who are, occasionally, some of the people that will be into these incidents, they're not from around here, so they have no idea, they don't have any good landmarks or anything.
Yeah.
And E911 is great, yeah, you can get a kind of an idea, but that still doesn't narrow it down, so it's kind of like y'all come now, and we'll figure it out.
It's a white boat out in the middle of water.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that and 75 other white boats,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
And, I was talking to Eric about this past fall there. We have our county developed I guess we call it a manpower strike team.
Yep.
For mutual aid, because usually mutual aid, you usually don't need 40 trucks sitting there.
Right.
You need people, so we have this, and like we take our 1-ton truck, we fill it with 4 or 5 people, and gear and whatever we need for the call, and we'll go to half hour away to the top part of the county, and
Yeah,
we have the radio things. Usually they go to state fire, because everybody has state fire, so we usually
Yeah.
use that we had the 3 big brush fires up there this year,
Yeah.
fires, so it worked out well,
that's awesome.
so.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing now. I mean, we can ask for all these alarms and special calls, but it's not the trucks I need, it's the hands that I
You
need.
get the guy that drives a truck, shows up and can't do anything else.
Right.
He's not certified, or God bless him, they're too old to do anything, doesn't want to, or.
Yeah,
So yeah, so we developed this, and it's working out really well. It's
Good.
trying to get more people to use it and realize it's there.
Yeah.
And remember it as a thing.
right.
But we've also been working a lot more with Oxford County, so that's
Mm-hmm.
something moving forward, trying to get the 2 dispatch centers to communicate and
Yeah.
figure out how to go from there. No, John. Nobody
No,
can
John?
Well, maybe
Okay,
they can
so-
see. I don't know if we ever worked out our video thing, but John's just shaking. It reminds me of episode 1 where he's just going to start yelling.
So that
No,
ATV crash.
no.
Well, Eric
Which one?
listened to me.
Don't get me involved
yeah.
in whatever you're about to say.
Eric Field,
P.O.
the
box,
ATV
blah, blah,
crash.
blah.
That ATV crash. I got more
yeah.
information from him. He's like, oh yeah. He's like Otis Field. It actually ended up being like Oxford in Norway.
Which one? The most recent one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
They're like,
the snowmobile accident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's
Well,
like,
I was listening to Oxford. Well, I was listening to the guys respond when the first initial call went out. They requested certain equipment from you. I knew John was on duty, so I sent him a message like, hey, you're about ready to go to work, and this is what you got, this is what they're asking for. And then when they dumped your tone, that wasn't the information they transferred over.
Yeah.
they literally said they did not specify an apparatus. And then Eric starts texting me again. He's
like,
like,
he
yes, they
absolutely-
did. Yes, they did. This is what they asked
They asked for this, this, and this.
Yeah, but I
Brutal.
don't know how that communication works, because
It doesn't.
on Oxford
That's
County.
the problem.
Right. You're going to request it on whatever repeater that town uses, and then Oxford County Dispatch has to talk to Cumberland County Dispatch. I don't know that any of the surrounding Oxford County departments are going to have any sort of direct radio communication with Cumberland County. Even if they did, it would be kind of weird. Like, they'd have to go on to Casco's channel to ask for Casco.
That's what they do
It
over.
would be weird.
if Chief Wentworth was here, that's how they do it in Denmark, Freiburg, those guys over there. Because they've had issues, they request it from Oxford County, and then they'll jump over to the other town's channel, which is good on 2 tokens because, I mean, it takes time from the commander to ask for that. But the guys that are listening to the radio that already heard the call, now they're already rolling. They don't have to wait for the
Yeah.
tone. Because as soon as they hear him chirp up, they're like, oh, we're going to Denmark.
Right.
So he did it actually the other day for a structure fire. He told Oxford, I want this and this from Bridgeton. And then he jumped right on Bridgeton's channel and he said, by the way, you're getting a phone call. I'm requesting this and this. so that it got translated twice. So hopefully he got what he was looking for.
Well, it's just, I mean, I think in the, whatever it is, 12 years that I've been here, we've gone to Oxford a countable number of times, and we've gone more this year than
Yeah, probably
we
in the
have
last 3 months,
yeah, more than we have in 10 years.
Yep.
So I don't think it has been a discussion until this point.
Right.
Because like I said, right now, you know, Oxford County is going to sit there and literally have to pick up the phone to call someone at Cumberland County and say, hey, this is what we need from you.
Yeah.
Because it's just
And,
not.
and where does it get lost? Does it get lost from the incident commander to the dispatcher, or to the dispatcher to the other dispatch
Right.
center? You know,
I
Literally
think it's like the
turns into
I think it's like the old telephone
Oh,
game.
it
Exactly.
is.
Just every single
Literally,
step
yeah.
takes a little bit
Yeah.
a little bit out of the mix.
And everything's a little bit different too. I mean, in Casco, you can get on the radio and say, hey, I need water. And Cumberland County is really good about figuring out where you're going to get your water from.
Yeah.
Oxford County, I'm not calling them out on anything, but you say you need water, they're going to ask you, well, where do you want it from?
Right.
Which truck is going to bring that? What town? Who, you know, they're very specific because they're worried about doing it wrong is
Yeah.
what they're worried about. They're worried about calling from somebody else. And I think it turns into just old school, people had preferences where even though there might be a closer town that has a more suitable apparatus, somebody got mad at somebody one day
Right.
and now they don't talk to these people
You peed in
anymore.
my Cheerios.
That's
And I
very
think that's the only
strong.
Yeah.
on my way. Yes.
Yeah.
It's getting better, I think, but
Does it work?
it's like when we call for mutual aid, said we'll want tankers from these towns for water supply, and we tell them what we want and where them from, then they'll get them going. So which is good. If you
Yeah.
tell them we just want water, they don't like, well, where are you? Are you near this town or this town? I get 3 towns around me. Which one are you near and which one do you want? So
right.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, we have run cards, so I don't,
yeah.
But even, I mean, we have run cards in Oxford County too, and they get a little diluted. And
Yeah.
like I said, it's because they're worried about doing the wrong thing. Instead of just getting trucks on the road, they want to make sure they get the right trucks on the road. Where you might have a specific card that says, hey, if we get a call in this area, we need this from this town, and this town, and we're going to call that, you know, first alarm, second alarm, tanker, task force, tanker, strike force, whatever. And
strike teams or task forces.
Right, and if you don't use the right term,
Yeah.
they just toss it completely out the window.
All right, so let's jump on that real quick. I used to manage the task force and strike team thing for Cumberland County, and there are differences. Task force was built out as 2 engines and a ladder, and then we would just build that out through everybody in the county. Strike teams are similar typed apparatus, groups of 3. That's all. That's all I got. I hear people asking for tanker task force all the time. I'm like, that's not a thing.
I've tossed it out. I know we've gone over that in trainings before. I've had that information before, and then, like I said, it's gotten to the point where I can't even use that term because I need to know exactly what truck I'm getting from where.
Right.
So I toss that information out the window, and now I go back to I need this engine from here. I need this tanker from here, and whatever.
Well, I was listening to one this week earlier, and somebody said they wanted a tanker from X agency, and so X agency was toned. They don't even have a tanker, so they just send an engine. You know, if you're asking for a tanker, you want more than 1,000 gallons.
Right.
1,000 gallons helps, but right? I mean, if you're going for a tanker, you're thinking 3,000 plus. You know,
Water.
but
You need water.
yeah, lots of it. So, but I find that interesting too. Is that sometimes it's okay for the dispatchers to correct you or say, you know, they don't have that.
Yeah, question it.
Yeah.
They should. I mean,
Yeah.
because you're busy doing stuff you might not
You
might
got-
click. I mean,
Right. Yeah, you got 1,000 other things going on. If I said something stupid, hey, just go. Yeah, you sure? Is that
Right.
really what you want?
Right. I mean, like I said, it's a lot. It is a lot to ask, especially in areas that are so widespread with so many different towns and so many different agreements. That if you say, you know, I need water, I need manpower, it can be a little bit stressful to go, well, where am I going to get it from? You know, that's a lot to put on dispatchers that are also dealing with 6 other calls,
Yep.
and, you know, depending on the
Staffing
county.
shortages.
Right,
and-
depending on the region, they could be they could be working that active fire scene on top of an active, you know, law enforcement event on top of an EMS call, you know, and it could
Yeah.
all be on 1 or 2 people. I understand that's a lot to ask for them.
So I know the answer to this already. So when a town in this area gets paged out, does every Tom, Dick, and Harry go en route on the radio and take radio traffic, or
Yeah,
That's
Chief.
cut.
do they?
Well, you know,
or they're getting better?
It depends on the town.
Okay.
I would say we're getting better.
And are they doing it to get the communication there to answer them, or just to let people know?
I'm not. I got nothing.
Because we have something.
I don't know.
on our
Some
town,
people like to hear themselves talk.
Yes.
And they do that
God
very
bless
well.
them. Yep.
Sometimes it's nice if you've only got the per diem crew on and they're looking for extra trucks. It's nice to know that somebody else is going. But that's also why we have IAR. And when you punch it up on your phone, it will say that you're responding. So
Do you guys use it? I'm responding a lot up here.
not as much as we should. I think we should definitely be using it more, and there's a lot more functions than
There's a lot-
than
you
it
can do a
used
lot
to
with
be.
it.
Yeah. Actually, we've got a board meeting, I think, next week, and we have IAR coming in.
I was gonna
to
say
just-
they have came down to our chiefs meeting a couple months ago, and
Nice.
a lot more stuff. And like, oh wow.
Yeah.
Problem is, to get time to figure it out, to use it and enter it in and stuff.
Right.
We use it most for messaging. That's
Yep.
the biggest thing. And when you get the call, I hit it for the mapping.
Yep.
Problem we have is like cell phone reception.
Yeah.
You can't. My house works, but between my house and the station is only half mile away. I have no reception.
Oh, really?
So I go down a hollow and the phone doesn't
Nothing.
work there. So,
Ugh.
but we don't use it for like responding. 'Cause I don't look at it. I'm driving down the road. I'm not going to take my phone out and look at it and stuff.
Right. It's against
Well-
policy, right?
Yep, yes it is. It's against the law. Distracted driving.
Yes, sir. And policy. 2 violations in one.
Now, if you have it up on a laptop, not a problem.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Cops
there as
do
a
it, right?
reference.
Right.
It's there as a reference.
The cops are typing on their laptop, phone in the hand, and radio. Going code 3.
Right, code 3, looking at the call, swiping right on Tinder.
Eating a slice of pizza.
We
Drinking
love our
coffee.
law enforcement partners.
Yeah. Oh, that brings up another problem that we've had and complain about. We go into an accident, and before our sheriff's department just went over to digital,
Uh-huh.
and so we can't hear them anymore.
Yeah.
And they hate it. They're getting used to it a little better, but they hate it. We used to go into a thing, and we scan the frequencies, and give law enforcement update. You know, hey, this people injured, this, that, and
And you don't get anything?
we don't get anything.
Yeah.
Nothing. We're like, they're not gonna do anything for the person. And they're like 20 minutes out. So we several times complained they're getting a little better with that. I assume because we don't hear them now, so I don't know if they're getting it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm like, what do they need it for?
Right.
I mean, they even said they don't care. So
Okay, that's
yeah.
good.
It's those little things like that is what the problems that we've had.
Yeah.
I'd say they're slowly getting better. And we had a huge turnover in the communication center, and then done. And of course, training takes 6 months there.
Oh, yeah, it's
Then the fifth
nothing
month,
fast.
fifth month goes. I don't want to do this.
I'm out.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's been hard, and they've been working tons of hours the past couple of years, and it's all been hard. So
Yeah.
That's happening with everyone right now.
Yep.
Everyone's
Everyone,
working a lot.
everywhere.
Right.
No, not everyone's working a lot.
Sorry.
There's a
Yep.
few people working a lot.
Yes.
The
You
people
know,
that are working a lot.
they're working
and
their
it's burning
asses
them
off.
up.
Yep.
And
Yes.
that means they're going to leave, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, it's not just emergency services. It's not just nurses. It's everything. Postal workers. It's Walmart employees, fast food workers, everyone.
Yep.
And the people that are left are getting the brunt of it because now they're working harder and they have to deal with the people that are aggravated because things are going slower, and it's
Yeah.
it's a
Vicious
downhill
circle.
spiral right now.
Yeah. Somebody up there hit a giant flush on the toilet, and we're all just circling.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So what's the game plan from upper management to fix that, huh?
There's
I don't
nothing. If there's no people,
Yeah.
there's no amount of pizza parties you can do.
You can't get a warm body, let alone one they experience doing
No.
anything.
Did
I
you
mean,
guys see
you
that
can-
meme on Facebook
Oh, yeah.
where it says, low morale, people leaving, and it says it's like a break to glass in case of emergency, and it has a pizza party.
Nice. Wish it was that easy.
Yeah.
Man, we'd have barbecues and pizza parties every week.
I have a pizza oven in the
Yeah.
station going all the time.
Yeah. See if I can get that worked into the new station. Maybe a brick pizza
Didn't
oven.
we have a popcorn popper at one point?
We did.
Yeah.
I don't
yeah,
know where
we
it
did.
went.
Oh,
What
no,
happened to
I
that?
don't know. That was fantastic.
Oh, it's probably
I
at
think we
the
donated
Casco
it,
Days
yeah.
Park. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had that. I think, didn't we have a snow cone machine or something like
No.
that? No. Was that?
That's in your dreams.
We would have a lot of people if we had a slushy machine here. Maybe I need to look into that.
Yeah. See, these are the ideas that we made.
I'm
this
writing it down right now. Slushies.
Slushies and popcorn.
Well,
That's how we're saving the service.
Yeah, we know you're struggling. We know you're working a lot of hours. You're being burnt out. You know, you're just one day away from
Here's a
doing
snow
You
something
want blue or
bad.
red?
How about a snow cone?
Oh, my problem is lately, which it's sad, but that's the way fire service goes, is that there's been no big calls. So
Yeah.
you can't get camaraderie and get everyone together. Yeah. We've been almost a year and 3 months since the structure fire. But that year, we had 5. So
Yeah.
everyone's getting along great. Now everyone's like, I don't know if I want to go station. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
I mean, we try to get in there. We can't force them, but,
Right.
but I think
We
that's
started-
the biggest problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the Ed's favorite topic, COVID.
Yeah.
That hurt a lot.
I feel like that's such a moot point. At
It's
this
so,
point, though.
but I mean, that kicked it into high gear though.
yeah, it was definitely
did.
a catalyst.
That
It's valid
exposed our,
excuse.
Yeah,
yeah, that exposed
was an
our
easy
weaknesses, and yeah, that exposed our weaknesses, and basically
In what way?
low morale, staffing issues. How long have we been discussing low staffing issues? We've been saying, hey, it's going to get critical, it's going to get critical, it's going to get critical. And then God came and was like, COVID. And then people are like, oh, there's a staffing issue? I was like, yeah, there was a staffing issue 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, good luck getting an
10
ambulance.
years ago.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It took our faults and our weaknesses and basically exposed them.
How many
Yeah.
job opportunities have you seen for departments this
So
past
many.
6 months?
So many.
I've never seen so many in my life. And
Yeah.
there's
They're
no one
even-
there to even put an application in, some of them.
It's bad because they're even offering sign-on bonuses and stuff,
Yeah.
like just to get
Yeah.
Like,
people
I
in there.
applied to Bath Fire years ago. I was one of like 60. I was like number 5 on the list
Yep.
at the end of it.
Yeah.
Now they're like, had like 2.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, we have 5 spots and you're number 2 out of 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Oh, I remember back when I first started in the fire service with my father and my grandfather and everybody over in Harrison, we'd have a structure fire, like a 3-story house. That would be the only town there. Just one town. We'd take care of it ourselves. Now, the other day, Chris had 13 towns for a mobile home.
Yeah. There were
It's just,
14 people.
yeah, just crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Well-
not the same as it used to be.
Right, and even before COVID started, the fire down off of State Park Road, where the
Ranger station.
ranger station
Oh,
caught
yeah,
on
yeah,
fire, we were calling in towns and we're getting trucks and we're getting one person per truck.
Yeah, 'cause it was
And like
4
we
o'clock in the
caused
morning.
such an issue with just trying to move trucks out of the way because they all, firefighters, they see the flame, they go as close to the flame as they can. And
Park the
so
truck,
like
get
we,
Pull the brake and run out.
we literally, we kept calling until we had enough people, but it was one person per
Not only
truck.
that,
So
but-
that we had to stop and move all those trucks.
Like we were just talking about with communication, you start calling people from other towns that you don't work with often, they show up, and if you've got 15 trucks on the way, and the one person that's running command is one of 3 people that's actually on the fire scenes, they're trying to accomplish something, and then you're showing up going, command, where do you want us? And command's running a hose line or something like that. at
He's
that
got no
point.
idea what's going on.
Yeah,
Oh,
so what are you going to do? You're going to park the truck as close as possible because you're not thinking that many steps ahead. You're not.
Oh,
you're
that's
not
a-
gonna park.
That just reminds me of a
Half
pet
mile
peeve that I
away.
have. I can't stand is when guys do that. You're the first engine in. Chief, where do you want me? If he didn't give you an assignment and you're driving that truck, you should already know what the hell your job is. Pull up and put water on it. If you're the second truck in, your water's like,
So ma-
oh
so
my
many
God, does that
places
drive
that
me
could go.
nuts? It's like ingrained in some people. It's like I heard town go into a CO call and the guy got on scene. Yep. three sides, nothing showing. I said, what's going to show at a CO call? Like, these guys just hear it and they're saying it. It's like, oh, it drives me nuts listening.
Well, I mean,
Well,
it gets
we
like
program
that.
that into 'em.
Yeah,
it's
I'm the
same thing with
second
EMS.
engine in. Where do you want me, Chief? I don't know. The water hole. Like, give me some water. Like, do your job.
But
You should know what you're supposed
right,
to do.
You say that, but people don't. I have seen a tanker get trapped in scene because all they think about is that fire. So they pull up, the engine's on scene, stretching lines. The tanker, I've literally seen it, well, actually at your BLS class, that was my water supply lecture
yeah.
of, at this scene, show me what's wrong. They parked the tanker right next to the engine. So here's an engine, here's the tanker, and then that tanker's useless
Screwed
because
everything.
every other truck came in that driveway.
And they pulled the booster.
It's just that's some of the frustration I have.
So what's
But it's,
funny-
and then you go back to what he was talking about earlier with it's common sense, like the signing on. If you heard a chief and like two other officers sign on to a call that's like a structure fire, shut up. You know, I've been to a call before. I got into it with the chief over in Sebago once because we went.
Really? You got to know what was
Oh yeah, This one's funny. My wife actually got after him worse. We had a canoe flip over with supposedly patients in the water. My wife and I respond to this call. We're on scene. We're on the shore. The assistant chief at the time is on the radio asking for airboats and dive team and this and that. Meanwhile, this guy that was taking a piss off the side of his canoe had already got to shore. We already had him on the back of my pickup truck wrapped up in my jacket. So when the chief finally stopped ordering all that stuff so we could get on the radio and tell him what we had, to cancel it all, and then found out that he wasn't even coming to the call. He was 4 towns over. He wasn't available.
You want to get me
I
going.
was like, oh.
The worst is when they request for an out-of-town ambulance in the middle of the night, actually early hours of the morning, wee hours of the morning, like 1 a.m., and you get on scene and you're like, well, where's the crew that just responded and requested us? They never even left their bed. You want to get me going? Oh, Lord.
So, kind of going back to what we were talking about, we talked about it a handful of episodes ago. I think of it kind of like the generational issue, because if I don't know what's going on at the scene, I don't know what you have for equipment, I don't know what you have for manpower, and I'm showing up with an engine, I know it's a little different than a tank. A tank, you know, I'm there to drop water and I'm off.
Hopefully.
Right. But if I'm there with an engine and I don't know what you need, I'm going to ask. I'm not just going to like jump off the truck and start going to work, because then you come over and go, I needed water. You need to set up at a water supply. I don't know, you know. Or I dumped off what I had for a crew and started looking for a water supply. No, I needed the truck here. I needed whatever. So for me, if I don't know the area, if I don't know what you have, if it started off with poor radio communication, if command got there, didn't do a 360, didn't do a size up when he got there, I don't know what I'm arriving to, I'm going to get on the radio and ask you, what do you want?
And I 100% understand that, but that's not every single truck that's responding to the call.
Right.
And you hear it, because one guy does it, and then everybody after that does the same thing.
And part of
You
it
got to
is,
talk on the radio.
and part of it is what John said. It's systematic at this point. I see it a lot with EMS, and it took a lot for me to break that groove, where EMS class was, all right, you're going to go down your ABCs, you're going to go your OPQRST, your initial impression, and like we just started doing this protocol stuff, and we were talking about how long you spend on scene with somebody that's having trouble breathing. And that was one of my first calls, and the medic that was there was like, are you sure you want to do this anymore? Because that was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen, because I'm on scene asking this guy questions while the guy's going, and he's just like, get him in the truck. You know, oh, okay. Yeah, I guess we can do that.
Awesome. So what did you have for your last meal?
Exactly. Basically. And it's because the only thing at the time, the only thing I knew of EMS was what they told me, which is you need to get all this information
Right.
before you come up with a plan of attack. And I think it could come down to experience. If you have an inexperienced firefighter, you go, well, in class they told me to make sure that they've got A, B, C, and D, and man, if I'm doing this, I got to have that, and they've got to have this, and you know,
These four
If
things
there-
have to
it
happen
It just
before
seems
I
like
can do this.
there's a big
and-
lack in common sense. Like I was
it's
saying,
a
if it's a
fear of
structure
being
Welcome
wrong.
to main EMS.
not just EMS, I'm talking about public safety in general.
Said it, not me.
Shots fired.
I'm talking about public safety in general. Like earlier when I was saying it, if it's a structure fire, 2 or 3 people get on the radio to say that, hey, we got the call and we're going, and then everybody else should be quiet. Let the first guy there figure out what's going on and then give the information.
Right.
I can understand during the daytime, like when you're short-staffed, having every single person sign
letting
on.
people know that you have
Like,
people. on
like
board.
I grab the radio and go, okay, I know at nighttime I don't need to do this, but because there's only 2 people going to this call and I know they're going to need a lot of people, I'm going to let them know I'm coming before they call that next town and that next town.
Right.
So I totally understand what you're saying, Ed, but it just seems like when you listen to the calls now, as soon as one person does it, it's like just repetitive. After that, everybody's, where do you want me? Where do you want me? Where do you want me?
And that was a big
Lone
problem.
Star 911.
Well, and the other thing,
Last night.
well, you go into it. I mean, you chiefs, when you're commanding a call, you got some chiefs that don't let go and don't delegate.
Yep.
So they're running 3 different radios. They're talking on state fire. They're talking on their local. They're talking on this.
Oh my God.
You don't have to. Brian shows up on my scene, your water supply. Give him a channel, send him on his way, let him do his job. I don't have to listen to that. He can jump on the channel I'm on and tell me what he needs so I can get it for him. Let him do his thing. But I've seen chiefs that have the 3 radios and they got to have the whole command center in the back of their car because they have to every single channel that's on their fire ground talking to them. And then they wonder how they get confused and they're overwhelmed.
Right.
It's like you need to let go of your power. You need to delegate. Give these guys a job. Give operations. Give water supply. Give staging. So when these guys are calling in and saying, hey, where do you want me? You're supposed to be on that channel talking to that guy, and that guy deals with it, so you don't have to, so you can take care of the problem.
In a perfect
And-
world, if you can fill all those positions.
Yes.
Yes.
But
And I know at the beginning of things, that's very hard to do.
Yeah.
I
But
know we'd
it just
also-
drives me
we were
absolutely
talking
nuts.
a couple weeks ago, about how some chiefs will get on somebody else's scene and go, "Wow, they screwed this all up," and start trying to do their own thing.
Oh, yeah, I've seen
that's
that.
another issue that you're going to run into.
That happens all the time, yeah.
Is that
Every-
you're not,
Oh, then
departments.
and then I've had towns that I've worked with that have come to me back when I was the personnel chief and say, hey, I don't want this guy coming to my town anymore
Right.
because they do that repetitively, and then they stop calling. They like jump
Well,
around to
that's-
other towns,
goes back to what we just said,
which causes issues.
a few minutes ago, that you can't. Now you've screwed yourself because you can't ask for a general response. You can't say, "Hey, I want water," because that guy that you just said you don't ever want to see on your scene again
It's gonna be the guy that
one
shows
driving the truck.
Oh, everybody say hi to James Gary.
Hi, James.
He's watching. Miss you, James.
How many people? 2? You're 1 and James
yeah,
is 2?
James.
I'm not watching. I don't know who whoever the second one is. Comment.
No pressure or anything.
It was me for a little bit, but then I shut it off.
So it was 3 then.
We got to get our numbers up. Yeah.
So, and I think
33%.
this stuff frustrates me more now that I'm kind of semi-retired. Now that I just do
Very
training.
tired.
Now that I just do training and I don't go to these calls, and
Oh.
I think it drives me nuts even more because I'm sitting at home listening to it on the radio, like beating my head off the desk, like, you should be doing this, you should be doing that.
Mr. Wentworth is also watching.
Oh, Chief Wentworth,
Hi.
come on over if you're not busy.
So it's changed a lot.
Speaking
from
of-
when we were all volunteer.
Well, hold on. Speaking of Chief Wentworth, he had that fire that was very difficult over in Denmark the other day, and
Call
I
him on
questioned
the
him about
phone.
it. I was like, why do you have 13 towns going to a mobile home fire? Like, I questioned him about stuff I heard on the radio. I was like, why'd you do this? What were you thinking about when you did this? Like, trying to critique it a little bit with him to
You
figure it
have to
out.
be very
Out of my
careful,
frustration,
because you know him and you have that relationship with him. But if you don't know the person well enough and you start asking him, "Hey, why'd you do that?
No.
Why'd you do this?" Then someone's going to get.
oh yeah, get bent out of shape.
Cranky.
But the best thing is that I didn't understand the stuff sitting at home, getting all wound up, like asking questions. I asked them the questions, and when they explained to me the call, I was like, oh my God, you had nothing you could do. He's like, yeah, we were standing there with our hands up. Like we tried everything we could.
He's a pretty
And I was like,
smart
now I
guy
make it-
anyway.
Yeah.
Talking to him, yeah.
Yeah, he does a very good job. And and one thing I like about Chief Wentworth is that he said from day one that he's not an expert and that he likes to lean on other people for their expertise, and he is not afraid to ask questions, and he's not afraid to have you ask questions.
No one should be afraid to ask questions.
No.
No matter who you are.
But there are chiefs out
Yeah.
there.
They have all the answers.
Yes.
Just ask them.
They'll tell you the answers before you ask the question.
But yeah, our radio communication has changed a lot since we've had per diems even.
Yeah.
You know, when we had our call company, that turned into a much bigger issue because we were relying on those people. We had more people.
When we
Again,
were doing
when
better, it was,
That's what I heard.
we had issues, but
Well,
now
what
that
it-
we're
Before
completely
Brian
separate-
got here, and
What it
screwed
turns
everything
into
up,
is similar to what Eric was saying, though. So when you
He's not
don't
denying
know that somebody's going to be there, you jump on the radio because you feel like you need to let everybody know
Yeah.
I'm going to be there. And I know when Chief Mullen was leading the show here, that was almost monthly a conversation. Hey, get the hell off the radio, because we had going to station 2, going to station 2, going to Central, getting in the truck, awaiting crew. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, no,
Play by
guys,
play.
Yeah. I want to know when a truck leaves the station, and that's about it. Or if you're on scene, what you see. Once that's happened,
That's all in setting.
So, is it
You've
really
said it's
my
like
fault?
setting expectations.
right.
You know, tell them, okay, I want the first officer and the first engine to sign on, and then after that, unless you're on the scene looking at it, don't say a word.
Right.
But like you've always said, you got to put those expectations out there, or it's just a free for all.
It's like in my town, so we use I'm responding a lot every day. My 2 assistant chiefs are brothers, and they work for a plumbing company that's about probably 1,000 feet down the road from the fire station. If they're working out of town, they'll put it out, say, we're out of town today, so we know that they won't be responding
They're
to
not gonna be
calls.
around,
So
yeah.
more people will listen and make themselves available to show up to calls, which is good. And we communicate pretty well, especially the officers, that we're out of town and stuff, so people know, and,
Yeah.
which helps out a lot. It does cut down radio traffic if there is a call. And they say, oh, we're on the other side of town, we're going to go direct, or
Yeah.
whatever the situation might be. Works out well.
Well, I'm sure you have a similar problem as I do in Oxford County, you know, because of the issues we're running into where we're calling so many other towns. Now we've got, okay, so-and-so copy the tone. We have this truck
Yes.
going out. And then there's me on scene because it's the town that actually has the call. And every time I go to key the mic, someone else goes to talk. And I go to key the mic and someone else goes to talk. And meanwhile, I want to actually tell them whether I see flames or if I can cancel them or whatever else. And I've got 30
So
trucks going
Mr.
on.
Wentworth states, we need to enable our members to utilize the IAR tool for response. I am in the process of installing tablets in our apparatus. We've done that, so I can track their response live to calls. We've done that. The only issue I have with the tablets is like we went mutual aid to another town with an ambulance, and it's like the turn to get out of the driveway was like that. The tablet in the ambulance, being a tall guy, is right here. So when I'm trying to turn and make that almost, I don't know what it, not even quite
100, 135.
yeah,
degree
100
turn.
degree turn. I finally just grabbed it and ripped it off the windshield because I couldn't see. But that's the only thing I have is placement. He says, I realize this is a balance of driving safely, but it can be done in a few seconds before driving. Yeah, see, you responded to my...
So I am responding is great if the people use it.
Yeah.
And that has been
And
my
you're set up- and
argument
you're set
since
to use
day
it.
one.
Yeah.
Because if you have 2 people using it and 5 people that aren't, and you've got the 2 people looking at it, showing up and going, well, no one else is coming, and take off in the truck, and 5 people show up and go, what the hell? You guys left while I was pulling in. Well, you didn't respond. And then it turns into the, I'm not using a stupid phone app, you know, some of the older guys or people that just don't use their phone. This is a fire department. Why do I care about a cell phone? I'm going to call on the radio or whatever else. If nobody buys into it, if nobody uses it, it's completely useless.
I know some towns that use it as their
Primary.
payroll roster kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like if you don't sign on to I am responding, you don't get credit for going
We
to that
used
call.
to do that here.
Yeah.
So it kind of entices or enforces the fact that you have to sign on.
And Chris Whitworth said something else that we've actually started doing here too, is that he's added his mutual aid departments to IAR.
Yeah.
We've started doing that here, especially with the full-time and per diems, so that we know this person's staffed at this level, this department's staffed at this level. So if we see a call pop up, we know that there may be a good chance that we are responding. I broke the rule and put my...
It was your
It's all
rule.
right. So those of you that don't know this episode, we got new cables. That's why you can now hear every time we move our arms and our shirts
Right.
slide, or somebody 5 towns over coughed a little bit or something. You can,
No, we
you
got
can
a
hear
new
that.
setup. I can't show it, but it's right here. It's a lot more powerful. Even though these are condenser mics, we can still hear I mean, dynamic microphones. With our condenser microphones, we used to be able to hear like a squirrel fart 5 miles away. These ones are a lot better, but you still hear that.
Well, I'm glad Chief Wentworth's chiming in from
I know,
our
I'm waiting for
live
it.
That's pretty
feed.
cool.
We should just FaceTime them. Just
We're
bring
just
them
gonna
in.
start calling.
Well, we
all
probably
the-
could have invited him over
Set
today,
him-
but I
set him
figured
up
with
with
what
an
he's got
iPad.
going on over there, he's a little busy. So.
You have a projector you can set him up to and have him on the wall.
I
And
know, we
We could do all
should.
sorts of.
Oh, we have like a Zoom meeting. We have like 20 people.
I know.
It's amazing. Cool. All right.
Nice.
Well,
James says hi also.
hi.
James again?
James Gary.
Yeah, we already talked to him.
Yeah. Well, we
It's all
said
right. We'll
hi.
talk to you
he
again,
said hi.
James.
He said hi back.
We still need to get him in as a guest at some
know.
point.
He's retired
He-
now
I'll say
from
he
the
ran
fire
away.
department.
He doesn't
But I
like
think
us
he's still
anymore.
got some stuff to talk about.
I know, right? What we do is we have like an after hours podcast. We just get a couple bottles of whiskey and then
Not
we
on
each,
town property.
not on town property, obviously.
Right. Yeah. No.
Obviously.
And then we just see what comes out.
This is apple juice.
We don't live that one.
It has to be a lot of editing.
Sounds like a good time to break in that slushy machine. It just so happens I bought one for my camper for the summer.
He did. He does have a slush.
I have a
machine.
3-pitcher margarita machine that
That's amazing.
I can bring over if we need to.
And then we obviously don't live it so that if it just turns out we just delete.
We're gonna end up starting to do these podcasts in his basement.
I'm not going to his basement. No, thank you.
Why is the chief not talking?
Because of the ball gag.
He has an apple in his mouth.
And we just turned left.
All right.
What Eric's thinking of.
All right, what else do we have?
Yeah.
Budget.
Budgets.
Budget and latest inflation.
How about that?
So that is actually, can be a very long topic. I mean,
Can
that's,
be.
yeah. I mean, we're seeing it now, just with it's an employee market. So literally with departments trying to attract people, their budgets must be going through the roof. I don't know how some of them are doing it, especially some of the smaller agencies, where they're cranking up their salary just to attract people.
Yep.
Yeah, that equipment costs. I know trucks are 10%
they're
10% a
insane.
year.
And same
Going on?
thing,
Yeah.
trying to pitch that to your town and say, look, if we don't pull the trigger on this now, it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
It's really hard to try and pitch that right now.
Come on in. I don't know. We're about almost an hour into it, so I don't know how much longer we're going to be talking, with Chief Wentworth.
Oh, we thought John was talking to himself
Oh.
again.
The voices in his head.
Yep.
Yeah. No. I mean, we the board was all about that, and we got our orders placed just before an increase. So, it's crazy. It's exponential right now. It's
I know a neighboring town of mine, I'm good friends with the chief there. He ordered a truck last year. It was supposed to be here in March, then July, now November, and now saying next year sometime. He's like, my engine I have will not make it that long.
right.
He's like, so, but you can't get the parts for it. You can't get axles, I guess, a big thing hold up, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah, you can't get parts for anything.
They're like,
Nope.
so an engine typically, well, it used to be like a year,
yeah.
12 months. Right now, it's 14 to 16, and that's if you can get everything. It's
Right,
crazy.
you got to kind of play the game and go.
Well,
do you
and
have any demos? Do you have?
Oh, absolutely.
There's chassis, and you get stuck with this oddball stuff because it's a chassis that somebody bought and the wheelbase isn't
Yeah.
right. Okay, I'll take it because it's
We'll
there.
have to make it work.
And then you build a body around it because a lot of that stuff is available. If you can
Right.
get the bones that are there and then make everything else
You know,
work.
let's say a
it's
town,
good.
like, hey, that's my son, I'm gonna find a truck. I'm gonna wire the money to him right now to get it.
Yeah.
Because
Th-
that's the way it is
that's
right
how
now.
it's getting.
The ambulance is the
How
same
it's
way
getting.
too.
Yep.
I mean,
Ambulances are junk. Every single one.
so they're almost 2 years, year and a half out right now.
Do we want to talk to another chief?
Chris Wentworth says hose testing is
Depends
up
on what chief it
15%.
is.
Hose testing, 15% increasing this year. Fuel cost is up 45, we all know about that. Fuel cost is up 45%, insurance is always rising. And of course, we just talked about supply chain issues.
All that.
I
Even
ordered,
EMS supplies, like not even talking about larger ticket items. Like just N95s, you're like
Just
6 months out.
consumables, yeah.
Yeah.
I ordered a video laryngoscope, and
Fancy.
got that. It's on order. the rep says, if you want another one, you probably ought to get your order in now. So I get permission to place it at the end of last year, and it won't be here before August. You know, that's a completely different budget. So I was like,
Yeah.
you know, I talked to the boss. I go, this is what's happening. Is it okay if I order it? I mean, it's not gonna. It's crazy. It's
Yeah, it's like a big,
everything.
Your budget's gonna be all messed up because it'd be different years. Like
Yeah.
Ours runs a calendar year.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just it's good and bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. They work it all out with everything else, but whatever. And our town meeting's in middle of March, so
Yeah.
like 3 months they float.
Yeah.
2 months they float and make it work. I'm like whatever. So it's my first year doing it, so I'm like okay.
Right.
So, but yeah, I gave my budget. I went up on some stuff because I know it's going to be more expensive this year because my first year and I'm not going to spend a lot of money.
Right.
I want to do that the first
Yeah.
6 months in, but now we're buy stuff now and we got to do some purely gear. I have no idea what that's going to cost.
Yeah.
And we haven't bought gear in
Gear's
There was
a couple
another
years.
though.
Globe.
So-
I think the Globe rep said that they're going to have a double-digit increase before either in the spring or before summer.
So not even talking about price though, same thing. We ordered gear in my neck of the woods 8 months ago.
Yep.
Haven't got
Yeah.
it.
I know some people a year or more because the New York City and Boston place the order, poof, they're front of line for
Right.
500, 600 sets. So
Oh, look at fire helmets right now. I wanted to order a new leather. It's 48 weeks. It's a year out.
I know.
To
when
get a
the-
You need
helmet.
another leather.
When the,
get a year.
You're
want-
semi-retired.
This was before. This was a
Oh.
little while ago that I was looking at this. I wanted to get one of those new ones you guys were getting, the Phoenixes. I was going to get away from the Carns and try something different.
Get those European ones.
And then, yeah, no.
I
And then, that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. But
When,
I was going to get one, and I wanted a natural. I wanted one of those. I've had every other color, so I just wanted one that didn't have color. Yeah, 48 weeks. I was like, no, I'm good.
Well,
I'll
and
change my
$1,000
mind by the
bucks.
time it shows up.
when how do I say this?
Just say it. It's never stopped you before.
Right.
When the Third Reich came in and said that I couldn't have my old leather helmet, and then the chief was nice about it. He goes, I'll pay for half. I know it's a cost, and then we looked them up, and I was like, oh my God!
Mm-hmm.
Even him paying for half, it's still not even the price of the original leather helmet.
Yeah.
Things are nutty.
And then, kind of circling back, you order gear for somebody that's new. There's an honest to goodness chance they could be gone by the time their gear comes in.
Yep.
That's true.
And
Yeah, because it can't be active without it.
right.
COVID hits and they gain, 30 pounds.
Right.
Why'd you look at me when you
COVID
said
weight.
that?
It's known as the COVID
I blamed
20.
it on COVID, okay?
So Chris Wentworth, Chief Wentworth, says minimum wage is also increasing, cost of living. We know that. Also need to keep that in mind while tracking the earned paid leave. That is a whole.
That is a nightmare.
We're gonna have Chief Wentworth in next episode
Ugh.
because literally this is a lot we can uncover. Yeah, that's about it.
So how many full-time staff do you have here?
5.
Five.
Just for ambulance or?
Yep.
Well, you have
or
four.
Or they,
Four. I don't. I'm,
Four and one that
I'm
comes around when he
useless.
feels like it.
Yeah. I'm useless.
Not you. He wasn't.
I was talking
you.
about you. We won't get into that right now. Did I just shut Johnny down?
I'm not saying anything. So where are we going?
so do your full-timers just cover your daytime shifts or?
So they work 24s. So we have 4 full-time firefighter medics, and they work 24-hour shifts.
And you're looking to add 2 next year?
I asked for 4 in my budget, and we submitted a safer grant for 8. So,
Nice.
yep,
On top of the 4 that you have now?
yep,
Nice.
yep. Because we don't have the call company anymore. That's
Right.
that's the biggest thing is, if you, yes, NFPA is a guideline. It's also every lawyer's favorite
Sure.
non-regulated reference.
Right.
If you went by that, we're supposed to have 6 people on per shift. So, which is, I mean,
Including nighttime?
yeah, that's 24 hours a day. Yep. Yep. So,
So I know at one point we were talking about the difference between having full-time medics and advanced and EMTs. Was the budget for medics or just firefighter EMTs, or how was that?
for this upcoming budget,
Yeah,
I think I just used the numbers for 2 medics and then 2, I think I did 2 and 2.
Good.
So, because I'd like to have a little backup for
Yeah.
the 4 medics, and
I
then
just know when we had first started talking about budgeting for full-time, there was talk of like a paramedic fly car and, because it's
Ugh.
easier to.
yeah,
I think you were the one that was talking about it, John.
Not me.
But basically that it was, we'll say 70 to 80% of our calls are BLS, and then, the other 30% you need the medic for, so it's easier to keep a medic in town
yeah.
and have them more mobile.
Yeah,
Just
it's-
curiosity at this point, asking. But-
There's so many different variables to it. I think what I did just for budgeting purposes was I always go on the high end
Right.
when it comes to per
And you
diems.
look like an all-star when
So,
it's cheaper.
Well, I mean, by the time you get done with overtime, there's still nothing left. But
Right.
just to try and have some sort of actual calculation. So, but yeah, that's where we're just kicking off into budget season. So, I had round 1 and I have round 2 this week. So,
I just met with our selectmen last 2 weeks ago, and then first round of the budget committee Monday night.
yeah,
Justified all of it. Like, I could be a lot more than what it is. So
yeah, yeah, yep.
All right, what else did you have? Getting members to actually show up.
I like a slushing machine.
We've literally, right?
That's a great idea.
I know a couple of towns that have coffee machines on their trucks.
They have
In
more
Maine?
bars. Yep.
In Maine, yeah.
What?
Well, you got plenty of water there. Keurig. You got a
Well,
generator. You got a
these-
generator. You got water.
All these trucks, and no one mentioned a coffee machine.
Let's do it.
That's my I'm out. I'm done.
We're not going to be able to get your pumpkin mocha latte.
I want a
some
cappuccino machine, and I want it to give me froth. And
A
Exactly.
little swirly design on
Like, yeah,
top. and-
the pump operator.
So how you feeling?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
What would
Hold
it
on,
be?
pressure, hold on.
extra fun,
Heart
please.
rate's a little slow. How's caffeine? How do you handle caffeine, huh? 2 shots? That'll be good.
Pump operator training. Not only do you need to get water in and out, be able to, draft, but you need to be able to make a mean cappuccino.
Right, the perfect froth.
Yeah.
Frothy.
I might as well get a donut fryer right next to it too. I mean,
Why not? Yes. Yep.
Truck operator,
Bull
and
crap.
cafe operator.
well, next apparatus will be those little freaking
Roach
lunch
coach.
trucks, roach coach.
Roach
yeah.
coach.
Well, I'm pretty sure the Chief's Chariot's going to have like Mi-Fi, a microwave, a little grillet. So when he's running,
Pull up, open up the back door, and slide out a Blackstone. Just so hibachi,
So when he's running-
hibachi into it.
If it keeps you guys happy, I'll do that.
so when
I'll
he's
do that.
running
I'm all
command
right.
from his vehicle, he'll be sitting there sipping his latte and
He'd be on the attack line out front,
Frying.
flipping zucchinis at you.
frying up some
Yeah.
sausage.
Throw an egg up in the
Yeah, can
air.
you strike the second alarm?
Bring some eggs with them.
He burnt the toast.
I'm leaving. That's great.
But it's difficult, and I've said this on the show before, is that the problem calls we're having are the problem calls we've always had. The calls that nobody's interested in. You get a structure fire, and we're not going to have as many people as we used to have, but you'll still have people that come out of the woodwork, people you haven't seen in months. We're going to show up to a structure fire, maybe even if it's a gnarly car crash, they'll show up for that. But the fender benders, the CO alarms, the smoke detectors that go off, I'm just as guilty as anyone else. Like, I'm already 5 minutes on my way to work. I'd have to turn around. You
Yeah,
know,
right.
two other people have already signed on. They've got it. It's fine. And then, you know,
See, at least you're still at the consideration phase. Me, as soon as I get home, my radios don't go on.
yeah.
They can all just.
Yep.
And I don't
At this
really
point,
have
the
any,
world could burn, and I'd sit there just drinking my latte at home.
You wouldn't know about it unless I texted you.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to fix that. I don't, because I feel myself falling down that rabbit hole of, you know, if they need me, I'll go, but they don't need me.
Chief Wentworth says,
Sounds like they're
except
fine.
when it's a weekday morning and negative 16 degrees, then you won't get anyone else.
So we've had, in my neck of the woods, a huge influx of new people. They're super
be nice.
motivated. It's fantastic, except the problem that we're having is they are more motivated than the people who are teaching them.
Yep.
So burnout.
It is and it isn't. It's
Time.
It's the
period,
same
for
thing with
everyone.
time, exactly. It's what we've talked about again and again and again. There's so many hours in a day, and you can promise yourself in 16 different directions, and how's it going to crumble? Who gets the priority there? Especially this time of year, you know, a lot of the fire chiefs in my area are public works for people, have their own plowing gigs, or just have properties that need to be maintained when it snows. They don't have the time to dedicate to not only fire calls, but the fire department and teaching these new people. And so it's so difficult to tell these people that are brand new and are so motivated to learn that, guys, if you can hang on for another couple months and we get to better weather and a little bit more time and more, places we can train. Like right now, I don't want to take a truck out of service because I just pulled out some hose lines and froze them outside.
Right.
You know, I don't really want to have the truck running in the bay to show you guys pumps or anything like this. So I'm really limited on what I can teach you. I can't throw a ladder inside. I really don't want you guys throwing a ladder on the ice for the first time you're going up a ladder. You know, and they're the people I have I can't speak enough of because they're so excited to get into the book. I'm like, are you serious? You know, they
That's
had their
awesome.
own like study group. I'm like, why don't you guys let me know? I will be here, and any questions you guys have, I can't tell you I'm going to be able to answer all of them, but I can give you maybe some real life scenarios that I've run into and things like that. You know, please let us know because I don't want you to lose this motivation before I get you a chance to actually learn things.
Yeah.
And so, like you said, it must be nice. Nobody else is running into this problem right now, so it's hard to even turn
Well,
to somebody
so-
and be like, hey, how many new people do you have so we can get a class together?
Right.
They don't have new people. Or the people that they
Yeah.
have aren't
So-
at that
Which
level
which
or
town was it
whatever.
that just said that they had like 60 people apply?
Uh,
You saw
uh,
one of the bigger cities said
Was
they
it
had like 60
Westbrook?
people.
Westbrook.
Yeah, something like that.
Westbrook, yeah.
They're like, that's like the
5
only town I've ever
positions?
heard of that. Like, what the hell are they offering?
I
Like,
haven't heard that in years.
yeah.
So from another perspective about people not being motivated to teach the new people, from my perspective and what discourages me is that we'll get new people in here and then we try to put on an officer on every shift. And instead of training those new people, I'll get the officers or the paramedic, who's ever on, will complain about that person instead of training that person and come to me and expect me to train them or talk to them.
Is
So
that
as an
officer
ins-
prepared to train them? Are they trained to train? Are they instructors? Do they have any skill set or any reason to believe that they're capable of training these people?
Do I have any, but at this point, do I have any reason to believe they're capable of training people? No. So.
Goes back
but-
to expectations. When
But
you
then
put
it
them
falls
on-
on to me,
Right.
and as the training officer, I just get burnt out and said, you know what?
The problem that I've
At,
had,
at some point, I figured out that I need to step away and let people fail,
yeah,
and then just let it deal. Well, we had this
Well,
conversation.
like Ed
the
said,
other
if
day.
you have somebody that has bad habits teaching somebody, they're just going to learn their bad habits.
Right.
So if you want it done a certain way, you got to do it yourself.
Right.
but the problem I've had, and it burns me out as an instructor, is I've had so many new people come along, and especially younger people, either juniors or just reaching the cusp of an actual firefighter, 18, 19 years old, that come in, they're super excited, and then either they get beat down by somebody senior, or they didn't get the training quick enough, or they got too much training at one time, they were overwhelmed, and then they leave. So I can't tell you, in the past year, I've had 3 BLS classes, and they typically start with 10 students, and
Finish with one or two.
I've struggled to have enough students to finish that class with a live
Are you
burn.
sure it's not the instructor that's driving them out?
It could be me. It's fine.
You know, my frustration. I'm just kidding. My frustration
that we now have these classes, and I try and bring in other instructors. We've talked about it a million times that when you bring somebody out from out of town or out of the area, you'll listen to them more than the person you've seen on scene a million times. So I try and get other people in as quote-unquote experts or just another face to teach them. And it's gotten to the point where I don't want to reach out to these people because now I have this person that just took time out of their day, the fuel to drive over or whatever else, to have students that either don't care anymore or have already left, and now I've only got 4 or 5 people. And it creates this vicious cycle because, well, now class is canceled. Well, now the students don't care because how do I know next week they aren't going to cancel the class again?
There's no consistency.
Exactly.
My issue as an instructor that I've had lately is that you talk about a class coming up, like, oh, we're going to do a RIP program, and you get all these guys, oh, yeah, that sounds great, that's awesome, let me know. You put it all together, and then they're like, well, I can't do Tuesdays, I can't do Thursdays, I can't do this, I can't do that. Like, they come up with all kinds of excuses, legit or not, and then you're like, you just put a whole program together, and you had it set up for 20 students, and you got 8. It's like, why am I putting all this work into this, getting all this excitement, and then the guys aren't coming out? I'm really, like, I said it in a couple episodes before that I'm really got to look at my career path after this bridge class in Freiburg, which we just put out the flyer the other day. I'm hoping that a lot of the interest that's been driven up in guys that said, hey, we want to be in that, actually sign up. Right now, we're getting some chitter chatter, but we don't have many people actually signing up for it yet.
Right.
So I'm really curious to see if they're actually going to come out and do it. Because this is a program that we've never done before, and nobody in the area I know of is doing it. So I'm hoping we can pull it off and maybe make this work for our area so that guys don't have to spend the whole time doing the firefighter 1-2 class. They can do it in 2 chunks if they need to. Okay. But it's just, that's what's getting me is like you set up these programs and then you get all this excitement, and then when it comes to time to enroll, you don't get the enrollment for whatever reason.
Down in our area,
It's just discouraging.
we try to do a BLS class once a year. We're lucky to get that. Enough people to fill that class because it's a whole county. When it's a old population county, so we don't have many young people coming in. This year they're supposed to have basic class starting up soon here, and then they're going to try the bridge to firefight 1-2. It's a lot of commitment for people. I mean, especially area where we don't use those skills a whole lot. I mean, it's hard to commit that much time. That's people say, well, I can take BLS class and I can be interior and learn skills through other people over the years. That's true, but you want firefight 1-2, blah blah, and depends what career you want to go in. So people like, I'll take BLS class and that's going to be the end of it because I can do whatever I want then. Doing the firefighter 1-2, you don't get anything extra, you don't get extra pay, you don't get anything extra really unless you plan on making a career and want to advance more. That's the problem that
Well,
we're
the
having.
problem we've talked about with the Bureau of Labor Standards stuff is that some of the classes that the state offers you can't have or you can't attend unless you have that certificate.
And then,
So it's hard when people stop at that Bureau of Labor Standards point because then you can't enroll them in any of the class because they don't have it.
then the problem we're having too is that we only have so many instructors in our county, and they're getting burnt out,
Yeah.
and they're getting older, and they don't want to do it anymore. Kind
And a lot of the issues I've had with attendance or initial sign up has been a communication issue with the chiefs. So there's a lot of regional miscommunication that I don't want to send my students or I don't want to send my firefighters to your class because I heard 5 months from now they're going to do a 1 and 2 class.
Yeah.
So, and then that 1 and 2 class doesn't happen. And then they come back and go, hey, is it too late to get my people into the BLS? Well, yeah, because I canceled it because nobody had any students. And that's happened at least 3 times this year. Or I'll have a student come up to me and say, hey, what's the deal with that 1 and 2 class that's coming up? What 1 and 2 class? Oh, I heard A, B, and C is doing this. I don't know, man. I don't have everybody's number on speed dial. I don't have every chief in the area. I can't just call them. I guess I could, but it would be kind of weird. I've never talked to him before, and now I'm just going to be like, hey, so I heard from somebody that just started 2 months ago that you're going to have a class, and it just creates
Oh, I heard it
weird waves.
I heard it the other day. I went over to Oxford to take a test for a class that I was in.
Congratulations, by the way.
Oh, yes, I got I got information the other day that I am pro board fire officer 2 now. So
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
waiting for the certificate to come in the mail, but my class is complete after 3 years of whatever you want to call it. But anyways, I'm over there taking that test, and one of the guys is like, hey, when are you guys going to do that firefighter 1 and 2 in Casco? I'm like, what? I'm like, Casco's not doing a firefighter 1 and 2. Oh yeah, I've heard they're putting up a class. This, you know, this officer told me that was happening. I was like, that officer is wrong. Because there's 2 guys that would head that up in Casco, and neither one of us are doing it because we're doing something in Freiburg. So
I was about to say that.
I'm wondering if there was
Have-
confusion between the 2 or whatever. And it's like,
Has that ever happened to you? Are you an instructor?
Nope.
Oh. Has that ever happened to you where somebody will come up to you and be like, hey, I heard you're teaching a class. Can I get on that? And you go, what are you talking about? And then the chief will come up to me and be like, hey, I was wondering if you'd teach this class for me. I'm like, well, I just heard it from the people that you told them I was teaching it, so no. I have done that.
I've had that
5
problem.
months in.
I have done that before.
Hey, I heard you're doing a BLS class. Can I join? Well, we're halfway done. You know.
have you ever? I've been in the position where a couple of us instructors went to do a class, and the chief promoted it differently at his chiefs meetings.
That's been another issue for sure.
So other chiefs are like, well, I'm not sending my guy because you're doing this, this, or this, and it's like that's not what we're doing. Like you didn't get the whole puzzle. You talked to the wrong guy. Like the chief assigned us to teach the class. Talk to the instructor about what the class actually is, because the chief is not promoting it correct.
Exactly.
I've actually refused to teach classes before because I've heard that I'm teaching a class from a student before I've heard from the chief. So when the person comes up to me and goes, hey, yeah, I was wondering if you mind teaching this class, I go, no, and I just walk away. I've done that.
But like, so I've been approached by chiefs before about doing a BLS class, and I said, I will not sign off on your student being BLS certified. That's just not me. I will sign off on each and every class they've taken with me, the skill sets that they've done, and if you want to call them BLS, figure it out. That's on you. But I will teach these classes. I will teach these skill sets, and that's been an issue. You know, same thing. They come in 3 or 4 weeks late. Hey, that's fine. I just want my students or my firefighters to know these skills. Great. End of the class comes around. Hey, where's their certificate? They don't get a certificate. Why would they get a certificate? Oh, you said you were teaching a BLS class. I'm teaching some BLS skills to these firefighters. I'm not signing off on any of your people for anything, and that creates a whole riff.
I could imagine.
Yeah. Well, because we go through all of this work to try and get it out there and try and get these people signed up. There's only so far that I can go. If you hear about it 4 weeks after I started the class, I am not going to restart this program because you didn't hear about it. Sorry. You know.
Well, like online quizzes and tests and stuff like that, or slides, like that's easy to catch up on. But if you have a trailer from the state that you borrowed for a weekend, or you went to a acquired building, I can't just make that up 2 weekends later. Like if we've already ripped through the ceiling of a house, I can't repair the ceiling and have to do it for one guy that wasn't there on Saturday afternoon.
Right.
Like
You get working your carpentry skills then.
We do need more disposable and reusable props.
Even just getting people to show up to regular meetings and mandatory stuff. I mean,
Yeah. Do you do mandatories this time of year?
we do ours in August.
Oh, really?
Because they had a lot of college kids on the department at one point, so they do it in August before they go back to
gotcha.
school. I'd rather do it in wintertime instead of wasting a perfectly good night.
I've seen some departments do like super weekends where they get like 3 or 4 towns together to do it all at once.
Yeah.
And then I've seen everybody kind of do their own thing. Some do CDs, some do written tests, some.
Boy, the online ones this year.
Dude.
I still haven't. I think
Yeah,
I
so
still have
I
2
talked-
that I need to do.
I
It's
talked to the
just-
training officer about that. Actually, he talked to
I
himself
have,
about
yeah.
that. And he's like, man, that sucks.
See, I want to get it so it's like all online and do it.
No, you don't.
That way
No, you can. We got the Fire Rescue Academy thing. And so when it was time for mandatories, we're like, because we did monthly trainings where we put out monthly trainings and you can go and do them on the line. We're like, well, we'll do mandatories that way. So under there, they have section for human resources where I just clicked fire extinguishers, sexual harassment, hazmat awareness. Like 9 hours of our life. I won't do that. We're gonna have to figure out some. Brian and I were talking. We're probably going back to in person because this was awful. This is
Well, because we have like a slideshow we go through, it has all that stuff on it.
Right.
I don't know how long it took, but I had everything we needed on there. And there's a few people that have been there for years, like, sign here after you
Right.
watch this, please.
Yeah.
Any questions, let me know.
Yeah, that's the thing that
New
frustrates.
people are different, but
Yeah, new people is one thing,
Yeah.
but these guys, we do it every year.
Oh.
It's like, we do this. It's the job. Like, why do I have to?
Give me the test. If I fail the test,
Exactly,
I'll watch
exactly.
the video.
Let me challenge it. Just
well. The hazmat class was 2 hours long online. About 45 minutes into it, I think it was. I was like, no, I can't do this. So I went and I took the test and I passed it with a high 90. I was like, sweet. I go to close out of it. Nope. I had to stay in there for the full 2 hours.
Yeah, it was timed. That one was
timed.
timed. So you couldn't.
I'm like, I already passed it.
how many times could you know how to wash your hands singing "Happy Birthday" and not touch it if it's warm and sticky and not yours? Like, I've heard it over and over again.
2 hours to do this.
somebody should watch those videos ahead of time to see how they were.
Should have. I was going.
We'll direct you to our training officer on that.
I was going through a lot at the time. Still am. I mean, we got COVID.
Think of the money they made,
weeks.
though. They pay for training, I assume, I hope. Yeah, I mean, 9 hours of pay, hey.
Well, that's if they remembered to clock in.
That was a topic of discussion.
Yeah, we talked. I was like, no. I was like, it's mandatory, state law. We have to pay you. He goes, really? I was like, have you been doing this?
I'm doing it while I'm on duty.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, most everybody's been doing it when they've been on duty. So, yeah,
All right, guys, we should wrap it up because I got a bolt in like 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Whoa. Well, that was
Oh, we'll
abrupt.
just do what you want.
It's obviously
Apparently
about.
you're not in charge anymore.
No, actually, we were talking about this before we started. This is Ed's thing, Ed Baby. So any complaints, please contact Ed Pinnell.
We'll have his contact info up on the video.
Go for it.
Start
Let's
rolling
have
through
fun. See how little I respond to all of you.
his Tinder profile.
All right,
Send that right up. Well, thanks for coming and hanging out.
Yeah, thanks,
We
it's been fun.
appreciate it. A fresh view of things.
It's interesting seeing how everyone's all in the same state, but all different at the same time.
Yeah.
Kind of nice
Yeah.
points of view.
We hit a lot of hot topics and more to bring up next time.
Yeah, well, Chief Wentworth wants to come in, so
Well, Sutter, you want to come down south again at some
This
point?
is up north.
Up north? Where is Bristol? I don't know where Bristol is. I thought it was off on the coast somewhere.
It is. You know Damascotta?
No. Isn't that north of here?
Brunswick?
That's north of here. East.
Northeast
of here.
Southeast of here.
Oh, I'm going to have to dig up a goddamn map on my phone.
I'll show you in a minute.
anyway, you're welcome back.
Yes.
Yeah.
What I was getting at is maybe it'd be nice to get Wentworth and maybe, I don't know, maybe we could get the Chief Tupper back in here and get a couple chiefs on the table.
That'd be cool.
Maybe we can get back into that old regionalization conversation.
No, it was,
We're still talking.
what was it?
Well, I think Scott has some stuff about that. Don't you guys do some regionalization
Where-
stuff up north?
What was it?
I have
what
a
was our
meeting-
new word for that?
Municipal efficiency.
There it is.
We have actually they're now talking to the county, our 4 transport services we have a meeting I think next week for regionalization for them. I'm not sure how it's gonna take place or anything, but because there's 2 municipalities, 1 for-profit and 1 quasi-municipal.
Wow.
So it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
We'll be meeting I think next week or 2 coming up on that.
Nice. Yeah, I'll have you come back.
So,
Absolutely.
Is that okay with Ed? Because everything's got to be run by Ed.
I'll send appropriate paperwork.
Okay.
And my people will call your people. We'll do the launch stuff.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, what was like an hour and a half, huh?
Close to it.
Been that
All
long?
right. Yeah. Good. Well, thanks. Stay warm.
Yeah.
Keep your walkways and entrances to your buildings shoveled out.
Events to your boilers.
And identification numbers on your building so we know where we're going when we go there.
I think that'll be it.
All right.
Goodbye.
Sounds good.
Bye.
See ya.